From 2018 to 2021, over 359,000 vehicle collisions, crashes, and wrecks have taken place in the state of Connecticut, involving over 850,000 people. And of those 850,000 people, 1 out of 4 of them, our neighbors, members from our community, were injured. This video will briefly talk to you about 4 more simple mistakes people make in vehicle collisions, crashes, or wrecks. When I say 4 more, this is the second video that I have made where we talk about some of the common mistakes folks make. These mistakes often can prevent a person from having their vehicle fixed, their medical bills paid, their lost wages reimbursed, and other damages they are entitled to under the law from being paid to fairly compensate them as the result of the at-fault party's negligence and carelessness in operating a motor vehicle. My name is Jim Miron. I've been an attorney since 1994, and I have literally helped thousands of folks obtain justice when they've been injured and otherwise damaged due to the carelessness and negligence of folks who just don't pay attention to the rules of the road. They drive distracted, they tailgate, they speed, they text, they are eating and drinking and driving angry. It's crazy out there. If you've driven for any period of time in the state of Connecticut, I think you know that driving has gotten worse in the last 10 years, not better. And so by avoiding some of these common mistakes that I see people make over and over again, you protect yourself from having the at-fault driver or their insurance company deny you justice. And so I want to talk about those. So let's get right into it. The first one is to say you're not hurt. What do I mean by that? You may not feel at the scene immediate pain. That's common. But I would caution you to diagnose yourself at the scene if you don't know. And what I mean by that is sometimes you know you're hurt. You feel that instantaneous pain. You hit your head and you blacked out. You have cuts or scrapes, abrasions, lacerations. You broke a bone. There's pain. It's obvious. And those situations, obviously, I think are the times you're going to say you're hurt. Those other times where your adrenaline is flowing and there's no apparent injury right away, or you think it might be minor, where you sort of downplay it. It's a mistake because the at-fault driver is going to note that you said you're not hurt, and the police are going to ask you if you're hurt, and what's going to happen is they're going to write down you weren't hurt. And so later on, if you develop symptoms and are in fact injured, the insurance company of the at-fault driver is going to look potentially skeptically at you, depending on what the injury is. I've seen it happen hundreds, maybe thousands of times where that happens. And so that leads to the second mistake that people make. They don't get checked out as soon as possible. What do I mean by checked out? Well, you ought to go, if you know you're in pain, and depending on the situation, if you hit your head, whether there's a passenger in car, if you're offered the opportunity to take an ambulance to the emergency room, as inconvenient as that is, I would recommend doing that to make sure you get a full workup after a trauma like a motor vehicle crash. Now, if you don't feel that is necessary, I would advise you to tell the police that you're not sure how you feel right now, you're a little shaken up. And then I would go to a walk-in or to your primary care physician or even the emergency room on your own to get checked out. Because again, the police are going to put in the report that you weren't hurt, or you said you weren't hurt, or you refused medical attention. So if you tell the police officer that you're shaking up, you're not sure, you're going to go on your own to get checked up, you've preserved your right to make that claim later without the insurance company or their lawyers potentially making it look like you weren't hurt, and now later on down the road, you're trying to make something out of nothing. I've seen that mistake happen a lot. Don't make it. Get checked out. It's forget lawyers and legal claims and potentially lawsuits. You're doing this to make sure you're okay. I mean, you only have one life, one body, and your health is of paramount importance. So even if you don't think you would ever make a legal claim or ever hire a lawyer, that's fine. You should get checked out. The next common mistake I make, and this is a pretty, is also an important one, is people don't obtain a copy of the police report and check it out. What do I mean by that? Well, the police are human and they make mistakes. They may have put something in the report that upon review, you realize is a mistake or inaccurate, and you have a right to go to the police department and ask that it be clarified. You have a right to go to the police department and ask for a supplemental police report. They don't always do that, but they often will, particularly if you're polite at the scene and you're later polite and respectful in explaining to them what you think they got wrong. You have certainly a right to have that documented. And you ought to do that right away, because the longer that you wait to make the request for an amendment or a supplemental report correction, the less likely it is the police officer is going to remember you or the motor vehicle crash, and it's less likely that he's or she is going to make that change. The other mistake that I want to talk about today is giving a recorded statement to an insurance company without talking to an attorney first. I know folks often will come to me, they've already spoken to their insurance company, oftentimes the at-fault party's insurance company, and that's fine. The problem is that the insurance company and their adjusters have a job to do, and as nice as they may be on the phone, polite, friendly, their job isn't really to help you. It's to minimize the amount that they pay out. And so I think attorneys that do a personal injury as a main part of their law practice, as I do, we offer no cost, free consultations with folks that are injured, or even if you don't know that what the extent of your injury is, if you were in a car crash, and call an attorney that concentrates their law practice on personal injury. They'll give you some good advice as to what you could or should say. Absent that, and you don't have to hire a lawyer, you just should talk to a lawyer. And lawyers, attorneys that do what I do, concentrate on helping injured folks. I routinely speak to people who I don't charge, and give them some advice, and oftentimes they decide not to hire a lawyer. That's just part of the service that I provide, and I think many others do as well. Short of that, if for some reason you want to make the call and you don't speak to an attorney, it's always good to have a family member report the claim for you as opposed to yourself. They are familiar with the facts, that they have the police report, although they may not have it right away, and you should report these claims right away. A family member reporting the claim for you is pretty good. So I think it makes sense to always talk to an attorney. So that's it for today. This is these are some of the common mistakes, things that I've told you today. Saying you're not hurt, not getting checked out, not reviewing the police report, and not and speaking to an insurance company without getting at least a consultation with an attorney. Those are common mistakes folks make, and you should try to avoid making those mistakes. If you like this video and the information that was contained in it, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your family and your friends. And if you have other questions you'd like me to answer in a video, feel free to leave it in the comment section below or send me a private message. Thank you.